I want to begin this part by doing an acknowledgement of country. And I don't know if you've come across these. Who has seen one of these before? There's a few of you. Excellent. I just find them such a wonderful resource. They're available in the Synod office for free. And there are 3 of them, and each has got 2 acknowledgements of country. So I'm just going to read one. This is God's land. Many have gone before who have honoured God by caring for this land in the ways they have lived and the stories they have shared. And so we give thanks for the Ghana people who have held as sacred the duty of protecting the land and living in harmony with it. May God honour and bless them now and to eternity. And so with that, I want to hand over to Meg, who's going to lead us in worship. And Meg is our new COMN network rep, so you'll see more of Meg in the future.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just thought we'd begin in prayer, and then we're going to sing together. So I invite you to bow your heads in prayer. Loving God, we come with grateful hearts and give you thanks, God, our Father, for mercy that reaches out, for patience that waits our return, and for love that is always ready to welcome us and bring us home. You are faithful and you are kind, and today we join together with each other to declare your praise and to worship you and you alone. And we pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen. So I invite you to stand as you are able, and we're going to sing some Good Hear Our Praises.
So we're going to go into a time of devotion, and what I want to do this evening is Meg is going to hand around a piece of artwork. I've bought it, I've got permission to print it, and as it comes around, let's see if there we go, you get a bit of a preview of it. This piece of artwork is called the Welcome Table, and it was prepared by Jan Richardson, and it took Jan 2 years to create this artwork. And the original is 4 foot by 6 foot, okay? Now, we're passing around copies so that hopefully everybody can see. Now, I know that doesn't work for everybody, so if you're near somebody who can't see it, maybe perhaps describe what you see. But I'm going to actually encourage you to make sure that you're with someone that perhaps you don't normally talk to, because this is part of us as networks gathering and getting to know each other. So I'm going to give you a minute or so to take in what you see, and then I want you to find somebody you don't normally talk to, introduce yourself, and tell them what you see in the picture. There's no right or wrong, but it'd be interesting to see what it is that gets drawn out. So we'll just give you a minute to take that in, and then I'll send you off to find someone that you can share with, okay? Okay, in a moment, I'm going to invite you to share some of the things that you have seen, whether perhaps there's something that surprises you, or perhaps there's a question you want to ask of the image, or just something that really stood out for you. So I'm going to send Meg around. So if you've got something you want to sort of share about what stood out for you in the image, just raise your hand and Meg will come to you with the microphone for those who might need it. So anyone want to share something that they saw in this image? There we go. Thank you.
We were struck by the fact that most people have got something with their eye. Some may have a deformity or some sort of covering on the eye. And also there's a diversity of people there, and it looks like a diversity of religions too, because there are people there I would say were Muslim, perhaps Jewish.
Perhaps.
And there's a fairly wide age group there, from the young child to somebody who's probably about my age.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else?
The only 2 that are showing their feet are barefooted. And we wonder whether the rest are barefooted as well, but we can't tell because the table's in the way.
Yeah.
And being barefooted has various connotations.
It does, doesn't it? Thank you very much. Thank you. And over here.
We noticed there are 12 people with one missing.
12 people with one missing. So one place is missing. Yeah. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. One person is missing. Yeah. Yeah, because the place is set. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, maybe it was the person taking the photo. It was before the selfie days, perhaps.
Some of the hands are unusual, aren't they?
They are, yes. Yes, and Meg, you'd noticed something about the hands.
Well, there's an extra hand or a baby with a very large hand.
Yes, yes. Of course, this is collage, so whether that was done intentionally or not is, we don't know.
I like that there's a cat and a dog there.
Thank you. You like that there's a cat and a dog there. Anyone else? Yes, one more.
Although it looks like there's cheese and greens on the table in the middle,
yes,
they're all eating something different.
They are.
Is that for afters or is that supposed to be?
I don't know. It's a great question, yeah. Or is it their favourite food? I don't know.
I see the missing table or plate is an invitation for others to join.
Thank you. At the front here, Meg.
It looks like a very inclusive table because the couple with the child, it looks like a same-sex relationship couple. So it's all welcome. Just the way the hands are, it's very intimate.
It does look like an intimate relationship there. Yeah, some people have seen that and some haven't, which is really interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Beautiful. One last comment. Anyone else?
I'm being really naughty.
Are you? Are you Googling? She's Googling.
I took our copy of the picture out to the kitchen staff because I didn't want them to miss out.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
And so I thought I'd seen this and Jan Richardson's work, and there's lovely stuff. Do Google it because you can buy images, and there's a poem that goes with the image
The Blessing?
as well. There's a poem called, hang on, I can only Google one-handed. Yeah, it is. Anyway, it's called The Wider Table or something like that.
Yeah, I'm about to read it.
Oh, very good. But if you want to contemplate more, there's a truckload of lovely information.
That's right. Yes, thank you so much. And so I love that you've done that. So I bought this image on that website. Jan Richardson has an art website, so you can buy them and then you've got the permission to use them. But it's got other resources too. It's wonderful. So I just want to read to you what Jan has said in one of her blogs about this. She actually created it in a time of sorrow for her, and she created it. In this blog, she had World Communion Sunday coming up, so it was just on her mind. But what she says about this image is that she created it some years ago, and it's called the Welcome Table. It was commissioned by St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Orlando, Florida, where she once served as a pastor. And over the course of 2 years, this large piece of art, and I read it was 4 foot by 6 foot, took shape on the small dining table in her cosy studio apartment where she lived before she and her partner were married. As she created this image over those years, she thought of so many tables that she had savoured. Those memories are embedded in this image of Christ sharing the table with his friends, a table where, as you can see, there's always a space to welcome one more. And so I have a question before you, a question to ask you before I read you a text and then that beautiful poem from Jan. So my question of you, and this is not for you to say out loud, is to ask you to reflect just for a moment, who is Jesus at this table? And now I do invite you to tell the person next to you who you see as Jesus at this table, if in fact Jesus is at this table.
so often what they're doing, but then I get conversation to who they're having with.
Thank you. I'm going to read to you now from Isaiah 25, and this is from the Message translation, verses 1 and then verses 6 onwards. So, God, you are my God. I celebrate you, I praise you. But here on this mountain, God of the angel armies will throw a feast for all the people of the world, a feast of the finest foods, a feast with vintage wines, a feast of 7 courses, a feast lavish with gourmet desserts. And here on this mountain, God will banish the pall of doom hanging over all peoples, the shadow of doom darkening all nations. Yes, he'll banish death forever. And God will wipe the tears from every face. He'll remove every sign of disgrace from his people wherever they are. Yes, God says so. And also at that time, people will say, look at what's happened. This is our God. We waited for him and he showed up and saved us. This God, the one we waited for. Let's celebrate, sing the joys of his salvation, because God's hand rests on this mountain. And this is the word of the Lord. So I want to read to you now a blessing from Jan Richardson called "And the Table Will Be Wide." I'm assuming it's the same one that you found. So I'll read this to you, and then what we're going to do is sing a song, and I'll explain that in a moment. And the table will be wide, and the welcome will be wide, and the arms will open wide to gather us in, and our hearts will open wide to receive. And we will come as children who trust there is enough, and we will come unhindered and free, and our aching will be met with bread, and our sorrow will be met with wine. And we will open our hands to the feast without shame, and we will turn toward each other without fear, and we will give up our appetite for despair, and we will taste and know of delight. And we will become bread for a hungering world, and we will become drink for those who thirst, and the blessed will become the blessing, and everywhere will be the feast. Amen.
Loving God, thank you that you promise us that when 2 or more are gathered, you are there in the midst. We welcome you here now and celebrate all the congregations that we are a part of. Thanks be to you for all your love that we share through the various ministries and mission activities that we are a part of or that we support through our churches. We ask that you open our ears to hear your voice, open our spirits that we may know your leading and guidance, and open our hearts that we may receive your wonderful love and help us in turn to reach out into our communities in love. Be with us now and always. Amen.
Good evening. In case you don't know me, I'm Rebecca Perling, Minister at Campbelltown, just down the road. I love it when it's at Athelston. It takes me 5 minutes to get here. And also Chair of this network. Thank you to the Athelston team for the kitchen people. I'm not sure if they'll hear through the... You'll pass on our thanks. And thank you to the worship team. That's excellent. Now, Glenys has done the role, but we thought it would be nice, as we did last time, to just people bob up where they're sitting and just say, I'm Rebecca and I'm from Campbelltown, just so we get a bit of a sense of who's in our network and so on. I should just mention again, for those who didn't hear me at the beginning of dinner, that Ian Dow is here tonight. I can't see him now. Where's he gone? Ian, who's part of the prompt team in the Presbytery office, and his message to us is that the Presbytery loves us. He loves us so much that he and I and some others have been at a conflict resolution workshop today, and he's still come out tonight to spend time with us. So thank you, Ian. A number of our churches are part of Ian's region, so that's why he thought it'd be good to come and meet some people. So if we just bob up. Okie doke. Oh, that's not a microphone. Meg had a microphone. That's right.
And I think we win the Chocolate Frog Award for having come the most distance. And I'm here to tell you, we've known that song, Linda, for years now. So backwoods country folk we're not. The role is going around. I inherited it from that man over there, Brian, and so if it's wrong, it's all his fault. Will you mark with a tick if you're here? If somebody's put in an apology, just do that. And if there's mistakes, can you correct them? Thank you. Must be you.
I'm Esther Haynes from Seaton Uniting.
I'm Anne Tyne from Trinity Alberton.
I'm Betty Christiansen from Trinity at Alberton.
Velvie Holden from Noarlunga Uniting.
Don Hopgood from Noarlunga.
Alan Barnes from Yankalilla.
I'm Bruce Davis from Campbelltown.
Andrew Telfer from Seacliff.
Jeff Tiller from Western Link. That's at Findon.
Una Davies from Western Link.
Frances Bartlett from Lefevre Uniting at Taparoo.
Kay Barnes from Yankalilla.
Carol Boyce from Grange Uniting.
Hi, Mark Boyce from Grange Uniting and Mental Health Chaplaincy.
Ian Dow, Outer Harbour to Victor Harbour.
David Badger from Barmera Uniting.
Ian Fry from here, Athelston.
Robin Fry from Athelston.
Ian Dempster from The Grove at Woodville Gardens.
Cyril Lang from Dernancourt.
Rhonda George from Broadview.
Margaret Brereton from Broadview.
Leslie Williams from Broadview.
Ruth Mary Bond from Broadview, because we rock.
Not a competition.
And Julie Sutherland, also of Broadview.
You win.
Hi, I'm Di Curtis from Athelston.
Anne Brown from Athelston.
Glenn Lesner from Athelston.
Meg Edwards from Athelston.
Jeff Dry from Athelston.
Faye Spence from Henley Fulham. Noriel Noble from Henley Fulham.
Ken McLean from Marion.
Diane Bury from Mary Morridale.
Linda Driver again from Athelston.
Brian Dunstan from Croydon Park and West Lakes.
Paul Whittam from Grange.
Thank you. He's from Athelston, I'm guessing.
Don Brown, yeah, I know, and we discovered we're related. Thank you for that, because we country bumpkins don't know everyone, and I reckon some of you don't know everyone. So it's part of our joy of coming is being part of a group that sings like that and worships together and just getting to know people. So that's good.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank those country bumpkins because Glennis is doing a lot of the admin tasks that Brian used to do. Yeah. We're trying to find forgiveness in our hearts for him, for Westlake's calling him away from us. Anyway, I'm sure it's very good. And David Badger is doing a lot of our tech, all of our tech stuff tonight. Well, all of our tech stuff. Athelston looked after their own, but yeah, he's recording this because, as you may recall, this does go onto YouTube so that people who can't be here can access it. And he's put together the bibs and bobs for the grant reporting back. So the format for tonight is, in a moment, I'm going to hand over to Diane Bury, who wears two hats. She is a member of our network because she's in placement at Marion Warradale, but she was also on a task group, and I can't remember its name, I'm sure she will tell us, but to do with the separation of synod and presbytery and the setting up of different formats of presbyteries and so on. So we're going to hear from Diane. There'll be an opportunity for questions. And Diane, I checked with Diane, she's happy to hang around at the end if there are other little things you just want to check for your church council or whatever. And then we'll hear back from our grant recipients from 2018. And I'll just remind you, look, we've still got money, we're still functioning as a network, so if I've got one application today actually for a grant. So if you think, if you've been thinking about something or tonight you hear something you think, oh, we could really do with that at our church, now's the time, people. Now's the time to apply for your $1,000 grant, up to $1,000 from the network, to spend for the enhancement of mission in your local area. Things that we miss because Brian's no longer working for us is we haven't planned the next gathering, but there will be another gathering, so you're just going to have to read your newsletters carefully and find out where it is and who the speaker will be. Well, they came tonight, so they must, yeah. It is worth doing, Glenys, trust me. So yes, keep your ear to the ground. We will let you know once we make a decision. The executive meet in a couple of weeks, so we will decide then. So I'll hand over to Diane.